Welcome back, Year 10 to Term 2. Today I'd like to talk to you about the assessment notification or assignment that you've been asked to do throughout the next 3 weeks. This is going to replace the test that you're going to do at the back end of last term. Okay, so just going through, it's assessment number 1 because we haven't done an assessment yet. You were about to do one last term, got canned. It's been handed out today. It's not due until Friday of week 3, so we're giving you, roughly 3 weeks to work on this. And it's due at 3 o'clock on that Friday. Okay, so in this assignment, you're going to be working on surds, you're going to be working on interest, and you're going to be working on coordinate geometry. I'll let you read through the outcomes there in your own time. So just scrolling up. Okay, so in this task, these are the 3 chapters you'll be working on. They're the 3 that you're going to be tested on. For the task, you'll need to download and print out the attached document which contains your assignment. So the assignment's on a different attachment. You will need to complete each question on the attached document. So on the test, you need to print it out. I won't call it test and assignment. You need to print it out and you need to do all your working on that. Okay. It also says, because of the plans by the state government to have students make a staggered return to school from week 3, details of how you will submit your work will be updated closer to the due date. So we're not sure, hopefully you'll be back in class, maybe 1 day a week by then. So hopefully you'll be able to actually submit this to your teacher during week 3, or you might be able to take a picture and submit it online. So I'm just going to go across to the actual assignment itself. So here we go. I'll just get rid of this one here. And here is the actual assignment. So when you print out this assignment, you're either in 10M1 or 10M4, circle the right one, put your name up there. If I scroll down, the first part of it looks very much like a test, but it's telling you what each of the sections is worth. So surds is worth 22 marks, interest depreciation 22, coordinate geometry 22. So in total, this assignment is worth 66 marks. So it goes through surds, questions first, then interest depreciation, then coordinate geometry. So just scroll up. Okay, so you'll need to print this out, and for a lot of these questions you probably need to do some working on paper before you start doing it on here. Otherwise you're going to have to keep printing it out, redoing it. But look, maybe you might want to print out 2 or 3 copies of this assignment in case you make mistakes. Okay, so surds has C grade, B grade and A grade questions, as to the other 2 topics. I'm not going to go through every single question because it would just take too long, but just quickly, question number 1, explain the difference between a rational number and an irrational number. It's worth 2 marks. You need to put your answer in written form in there. Okay, look back over the chapter to get an answer for those. Fairly straightforward questions. Give an example of a rational and irrational number. So write 1 rational number there, 1 irrational number there. That's worth, should be worth 2 marks as well. Question 3, simplify the following surds, leave your answer as a surd and show a working. So pretty important. You probably don't have any working for that one there, but show your answer. Work out the answer here, put it here, can it be simplified? How would you simplify that? You can't just do what a lot of people do, is just type that on the calculator, write an answer. It's not a calculator question. You have to work out what 3 square root 8 is if you simplify it. So you need to go back over your book work and see how to do that. And you've got to show where you're working. You can't just write equals and then just come up with a magical answer. You've got to show you're working for these, okay? How did you get your final simplified answer? Okay, question 4. Now some of these questions are a little bit different to what you might get in a test, but list 2 surds that can be simplified. So here is 1, square root of 12 can be simplified to 2 root 3, and I showed the working. You've got to come up with 2 more surds that you can simplify and show your working. So maybe do it on paper before you do it, but there is an example. The next question, okay, a little bit different. Fill in the blanks to come up with this answer. There's more than one answer. In fact, there's several answers you could have. 2 numbers that multiply together that could give you that. So there's more than one answer. Write your answer there. question 6 is asking you to write 4 numbers here that if you add them together, you get this answer there. That once again, there's more than one answer. There are several answers you could have to add 4 different surds to give you that answer. Okay? Now, if you have any questions about these, you can ask your teacher. Question 7, simplify these 2 surds. You've got to show where you're working. Down here, you can't just come up with a magical answer there. It is not a calculator question. You could check your answer on the calculator, but it's a surd question. You've got to simplify these 2 surds and add them together and show where you're working. So just typing that on the calculator and writing a decimal answer will give you 0 marks. Okay, you should know that by now. Question 8, rationalise the denominator. You may need to go back over your books to see what that means. Okay, show where you're working. It says that all the time. It's not a calculated question. Show it or you're working. Question 9. I'm missing a bracket. That bracket should be a little bit bigger. It should be more like that, unfortunately. So here are your brackets. Okay, you've got to expand this. It's a difference of 2 squares. You've got to show where you're working. Don't just type that on your calculator and get a mysterious answer. You've got to multiply them out, expand the brackets. Okay, show where you're working. Let's rub all this out. Okay, question 10. Question 10 is a little bit different, but question 10 is saying, after looking at your solution from above, how could you have come up with this answer in your head? So you should, when you do question 9, if I just go back down, the answer you get should be a whole number. Let's say it's 10 or minus 5 or 12. You should end up with a whole number. And question 10 is saying, okay, that's interesting, you get a whole number. Well, is there a way that you could have done question 9 in your head? You'd need to look at the working and think, oh, okay, I could have done it this way. You need to try to explain how you would have got that answer in words. Okay, so you might have to think about that one a bit, look at your solution and think how it was possible to do it in your head without having to do any expanding. Okay, so it was a B grade question. Now there's 2 A grade questions. I'll let you read through it, but it's you've got a cube. Find the length of DE. Okay, I'll give you a clue that you probably have to use Pythagoras, and you probably have to use a double application of Pythagoras. In other words, you'd have to do Pythagoras twice. But once again, you've got to show all working and leave your answer. It says find the exact length. In other words, leave your answer in surd form. You shouldn't be using a calculator to do this. You should be leaving all your answers in exact form or as a surd. That is an A grade question. There's a second A grade question. You've got 150 metre radio mast. You've got 6 cables, a bit hard to see on there, but you've got 6 cables coming out from there. It says some important parts from here is that they are equal distance apart from the mast. In other words, the distance from there to there is the same as from there to there. The 3 distances are the same. So you can divide up the 150 metres by 3 and you can work it out. You can see that triangles are formed. 1 triangle, 2 triangles, 3 triangles. There are 3 different sized triangles. You know these lengths. It tells you the different distances. You might work out that there's some Pythagoras involved here. You can have a think about this, and you've got to leave your answer in surd form. A reminder, the clue is you've got different sized triangles, and you've got to work out the amount of cable, and you've got to leave it in surd form. So have a think about that one. It's a very gettable question. Okay, then you go across to financial mathematics. Okay, some of these questions are a bit different because it's an assignment. Find the value of any property being advertised in your area. So just look in the paper, look in the internet, find the value of any property. So it should be in the hundreds of thousands. Write it down here, round it off to the nearest thousand. Don't have $295 at the end. So find the value of a property. Pretend it was $695,000. You write your value there, and then answer the questions that go along with it. Find the value of the property after 5 years if it increases by 6% per annum, simple interest. It's a simple interest question. Okay, you need to look at the simple interest formula. Question B, find the value of your property after 5 years if it decreases, goes down by 6% per year. I probably should use the word depreciates, goes down by 6% simple interest each year. So once again, a simple interest question. Question C, from the value of your property, find its value if it goes up by 6% per annum, compounding each year. So you need to use a compound interest formula. And lastly, find the value of your property after 5 years if it depreciates, if it goes down by 6% per annum each year. So that's the depreciation formula. Okay, question 2. Jake is paid that amount per annum. Okay, and $860 per fortnight, deductions, etc. What's Jake's net fortnightly pay? You can read through that and work that one out. It's a fairly straightforward question. Question 3, Tom earns $370 per week plus 1% commission. Find his weekly income for sales of this. Again, you can read through that question, work it out. It's fairly self-explanatory. Question 4, research the value of an advertised laptop computer. So look up on the internet, find the value of a laptop, round it off, say to the nearest 100 if you like. Now, it could be like $2,000, $2,200. Write the value down and then find out the value if it depreciates by 30% per year. Okay, the depreciation formula. Okay, question 5 is fairly straightforward. Question 6 is fairly straightforward. I'll let you read through those questions. If you've got any specific questions, direct them to your classroom teacher. Question 7, once again, is relatively straightforward. You can have a read through these questions yourself. Okay, the A grade questions, use the tax tables below. Research the average salary of a job or career that you'd be interested in doing. State the job and the salary below. So find a job, say you're interested in being a teacher, for example, write down the average salary. You'd have to research this on the internet. The average salary of a teacher, if you chose that, write it down there. So based on that figure, you'd have to answer question A, which is to find the amount of tax per annum that they would pay. To answer that, you'd have to use that figure and this table, tax table, to work it out. So part B to that. Part B, if you had an option to increase your salary by 3% per annum, compounding for 5 years, or 0.2% compounding per month for 5 years, which option would you give? Give your higher salary in 3 years. I made a mistake here. 5 years. That should be 5 years. My apologies. That should read. Which option would give you a higher salary in 5 years? So, about 5 years. Okay. Coordinate geometry. Write this out. Okay. Fairly straightforward. Write down the formulas for gradient, midpoint, distance. You can find them in your book. That should be fairly straightforward. And using those 3 formulas, find the gradient of these 2 points, find the midpoint of those 2 points, find the distance of those 2 points using the formulas from above. It should be a fairly straightforward question. Use a number plane below, draw 3 straight lines with different y-intercepts and different gradients. So 3 straight lines, for example, could go through here, might look like this. You'd have to use a ruler. Apologies, try a different pen. You'd have to use a ruler, of course, but it might go through like that, using a ruler. And you'd have to draw your 3 lines, maybe one going that way, one this way, one that way, all of different gradients, all of different y-intercepts, and you have to work out the equation of each of the 3 lines. Okay, so it should be in the form of y equals mx plus b. So it's not hard to draw the 3 lines, but you've got to work out what's the equation of each of the 3 lines. You have to think about that. Okay, okay, question 6, fairly straightforward. The line AB has this equation. What's the gradient of this line? Find the equation parallel passing through 0, 0. I'll let you have a think about that. You might have to look at your book. Okay, you've got some fairly difficult A grade questions. Okay, you got one there and one there. I'll let you read through. I don't want to give any clues away for these A grade questions. You'd have to have a think about it. And I think there's one more at the end, question 9. Okay, they are fairly difficult questions, but maybe you can have a think through it, look through the book, and try and work it out. Just remember that all of your working, where possible, needs to be on here. Hopefully I've left you enough room for each of these questions to show your working. You may have to do a lot of your working on the side or in a piece of paper first, and then put it on here. So good luck with your assignment, Year 10.